For most of my crafting life, everything I owned lived in my bedroom. I used to have two closets, one for clothes, one for crafting. It was a small space, but I loved it. It was my happy place. Over the years, my space had a lot of evolutions of how it looked, but that was fun for me, right? That's part of the fun is figuring out how to fit the things in the space you have and how to make it usable and fun and yours. So this is what my closet looks like now. I step up into it and the stairs are under here, so there's like a ledge. And I've had these three plastic bins for I don't even know how long. But all of this I'm about to change and make hopefully better. Finally, like 2-3 years I think after putting all of this together, I finally have bins that I just got on sale at Michael's. Yes! To do all of this. So I'm pretty excited. About a year ago, my craft closet setup changed and it was bittersweet, but honestly, this is the first time in my life I've ever had room to actually spread out. So since I'm in a new space, today I want to show you everything I'm using now, what I'd skip if I were starting over, and what's actually working for me. So let's get into it. Let me start with the tools I actually reach for every single time I sit down. This is my Fifine mic from Amazon. It's pretty inexpensive and it does exactly what I need it to do. Now, early on, I invested in a camera for tabletop shooting, but it turns out that my phone does the job just fine. I am a proud Android user and I'm using my Galaxy A54 and I love it. Now, I'm a renter, so a silly mount was not going to happen as far as my tabletop shooting. And I DIY'd it for years using pipes from the hardware store and a tutorial I found online until I found this beauty. This is my beautiful Archon mount. My phone fits great in it. I can turn it horizontally, vertically. It is just one of the things I love the most, and it takes up such little real estate. I can easily stand up or peek up and zoom and make sure that I'm centered. Speaking of centering, let's talk about mats. I tried other setups, and the glare from the outlight on a glass mat was a nightmare. And these washi tape marks on my mat are one of those tiny things that took so much stress out of filming. I wish someone had told me this earlier. I just mark my kind of sizing for YouTube and then social media, which is vertical, and then I zoom in. It's great. Now, my Ott light has been with me for years, and I need the extra light. Without it, it's just a dark world. All right, let's talk about laptops. You guys, I love my laptop. My laptop before this one was so slow and it really couldn't render any sort of video and I was getting frustrated, and so I looked for something that could process faster, and this is actually a gaming laptop. I am not a gamer, but it's amazing. It is the HP Spectre 362 in 1 15.6 inch. Yes, it is a big laptop, touchscreen. It is beautiful. I've had it for almost 6 years and it's on its last leg. So if y'all have any tips or recommendations for a new laptop, please let me know. Filmora is where everything comes together. It's the program I use for video editing for my YouTube videos. And what was important for me in selecting a program was something that was user friendly. And this I have found extremely user friendly with a lot of great options that I can use or choose not to use. So it's really been fun to play around in. This shooting tent that I found on Amazon is what I use for taking photos of my finished cards. I love that it folds flat. It gets really bright. It's easy for me to open up, set up, and then put it back down when I'm no longer needing to use it. It even came with 4 different backgrounds in different colors. I typically use the white background. I can stage my cards, and there's even a hole on top so I can stand above it and shoot straight down. Now for the things I actually make cards with. Near my desk, I really like to keep whatever I'm currently working on or any dies and stamps or products I want to use. And I keep these clear bins so I can easily contain individual projects I'm working on and open them up when, it's time to work on them. A lot stay empty, but you never know. Towards the bottom of my cart, I keep all of my adhesives. This is a new system I'm trying out. You have a lot of different types of glue, so I'm just trying to see what's going to work best here. I keep all of my foam tape down here, double-sided tape, and even just things like Scotch tape and packing tape. Now, I feel like I'd be remiss if I talked about adhesive without talking about my trusty adhesive eraser. They're pretty inexpensive, and honestly, it's one of my best and favorite tools in my craft stash because it helps me fix a lot of boo-boos and uh-ohs along the way. When it comes to cardstock, I keep a lot of my cardstock here on a bookshelf in my closet. I have these clear bins I like to put everything in. I have these clear job ticket holder sleeves. I cut off the top, label both sides, and just try to put it by company in rainbow order. It's easy for me to grab one and put it on my desk as needed. And then when I don't need them, they can just stay neat here. And then I just have cart bases in another container and some extra pattern paper. Now, since I'm on the Birch Press design team, I do like to keep their cardstock pretty close and handy. So it's here in a cube that's close to my desk, and I have paper pads and I have the memory box cardstock in there as well, and it just makes it easy for me to grab it. It's like within arm's reach when I'm, in the midst of crafting. All right, so when it comes to ink pads, I like to keep them within reach as well. This one cube I have is stacked 3 high. It's not too tall, and these are actually cell phone holders. I think teachers are supposed to use in classrooms. This thing should actually be tilted on its side, but I put it vertical, and I was gifted by my wonderful husband the full set of Concord and Ninth inks for Christmas, so that's why a lot of them are still in the plastic. And then I have a few other brands down there on the second shelf. Now for my main stamp and die storage, I've landed on the same clear bins that I use for my cardstock, and I just have these dividers that I think I got from the stamp market. They're clear, I can pull them out, put them on my desk. Super easy for me to use. Now, I mentioned before that I am on the Birch Press design team, or rather the creative team, and so I like to keep these stamps and dies separate so I can easily grab them and look for what I need. I keep Christmas in one bin for the most part and non-Christmas in another bin, and I got these bins for I think like $5 from the Dollar Tree. Pretty easy for me to pull out, grab, and get what I need. All right, so I am keeping it really real today, you guys. This is my box of white cardstock. I am not very discerning about what type I throw in here either. I've got some 80-pound, I've got some 110-pound, I've got some, I'm not really sure what, I've got bits and bobs, and I just reach for it so much, and I had all these different little clear bins storing it, and finally I just put it all in this extra bin. I reach in, grab what I need, and I'm done. Now, storage was something I had to figure out completely from scratch, or a lot from scratch when I got this space, but my embellishments have more or less stayed the same in these clear bins. I find it nice and compact. I keep Birch Press design in their own separate bin there at the bottom, and then a lot of shaker bits and other embellishments in the top 2 bins. I can take the containers out as needed and then put them back. When it comes to things that I'm keeping on my desk, I've been trying to keep it as clear as possible. I keep this magnetic flower to put my dies on while I'm crafting and some of the label strip dies. I have this, one of my little mini trash cans. I actually got recently a new one. I keep my Tim Holtz cutter because I need that thing. And then kind of bits and bobs of supplies I like to use. I have this wonderful Lazy Susan. I love Lazy Susans. I use them just in my house in general. Keep my Barely art glue, my dot liner, little bowls for embellishments, blending brushes, and so on. I find for me, it just helps to have everything that I use, or a lot of the things that I use more frequently, within reach. Now, you didn't think I was going to end this video without talking about my Gemini. My Gemini Junior electronic die cutting machine by Crafter's Companion is my companion. It sits usually on the right side of my desk. It's plugged in. I can easily turn it on. And I tell you, this thing is a workhorse. I've got some great mats that you can see are, well, they are well loved as much as I love this machine. I use it almost every single time I craft. I'm trying to think of a time I was making a card and didn't need to use the die cut machine. Now, if you're not as familiar with the Gemini Junior or the Gemini non-junior regular die cut machine, they come with some different tools. I just showed the magnetic shim. This is a rubber mat for dry embossing, and I actually showed how to use this in a video before this one. And this is a thin metal shim, and the shims are used to add extra pressure because sometimes some cardstocks need a little extra pressure when it goes through the machine. But if you have questions kind of about this machine, why I like this one, pop it in the comments. Before I wrap up, I want to talk about the things I've had to let go of because honestly, they were harder to figure out than any of the gear. But as I really gave this some thought, I realized there were a number of things. One is other creators. I spent a lot of time trying to set things up the way I'd seen other creators do it, and it just wasn't me. And I always want to show up as much as possible as my authentic self. Judgment. Judgment on myself. I'm still figuring this out and I'm learning to give myself grace. It's a strong learning curve, and especially with the full-time job and just real life, you don't always have time to figure things out, right away. You might have to take a beat and start over. Something else I've had to let go of is the vision of something being, quote, perfect. One thing I wish I'd done sooner was just use what was around me instead of waiting until I had the, quote, right setup or until my room looked, quote, perfect enough or my craft closet looked, quote, perfect enough. It's beautiful. It works for me. It brings me joy. And that's what really matters. That is my video for today. Thank you so much for watching and letting me share this small slice of joy with you. I will link as many of the products I showed below. I know some of them I got a while ago and I couldn't find that exact product, but I can find something similar. I will link it. And honestly, I could do a whole separate video on just my organization and how I pulled this room together. So if that's something you'd like to see, please drop it in the comments below and I'll make that video. Bye.